Holy shit, guys. Let's go. Freaking Kevin Ogar's in the house.
Mhm.
We are so excited for this. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate you so much. You helped out. Yeah. I can't tell you how excited that we are that you reached out for us. Um, dude, I found you on the Sevon podcast. He was
Yep.
literally live on a show and decided he was watching Wheel Wad. Like, he literally had Wheel Wad up on the screen and he was watching it and he was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna call Kevin. He doesn't look like he's busy." And he just tried. I can't remember if you answered, but I think you just called him back.
Yeah, I didn't answer. I did call him back because I thought something was there was a problem or he needed something or it was an emergency, and it was just for nonsense on his show.
Is that common? Does he do that to you often?
He's done it. He's done it a few times.
I feel like he does that to a lot of people. I think I've also seen him do that to Dave a couple times, where he calls Dave and then Dave realizes that he's live and he's like, "I'm getting off the phone," and just gets off the phone.
I just assume now that if I get a call from Savan, he's live.
Mhm.
Oh, so you know
Otherwise,
now that you know you
otherwise
can't.
he'll just text me.
So you know your words can't be used against you in a court of law, or they will be used against you in a court.
100%, in a court of public opinion, more than a court of law.
Yes. That's even worse. That's
Yeah.
even worse. The jury of your peers, the internet
Yeah.
of your peers, and then some.
Mhm.
Well, I first found you when your documentary came out. So it
Yeah.
was, back when we were all kind of getting onto YouTube. We followed it from CrossFit, and when we found behind the scenes, we really engulfed in all of the media stuff. So, but we didn't find CrossFit until 2016. So we were later to the group, but then, once you drink the Kool-Aid, you're all in. And so I first met you by watching your documentary when it came out, and the first thing was I was amazed at how you didn't turn away from CrossFit. You actually leaned more into CrossFit after your accident, and you didn't.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
that's easy. I mean, like, CrossFit didn't hurt me. I was lifting and someone made an unsafe, lifting area around me and I got hurt. It wasn't CrossFit's fault. It wasn't the methodology's fault. It wasn't even the lift's fault. Just a accident by someone, a not smart move by someone that got me hurt. And I mean, I actually started sneaking out of the hospital about a week and a half, 2 weeks after I got hurt, because I was back at Craig Hospital by then, and the gym that I was working at and working out at was like 5 minutes down the road. So I'd be like, "Hey, I'm going to lunch," and then just go to the gym.
Right back into CrossFit.
Straight back.
It's crazy for me because normally when something like this happens, right, you want somebody to blame.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't blame CrossFit. Did you blame anybody? Did you blame anything? Did you blame the event? Did you blame the weights? Did you blame anything?
I wouldn't say blame. Like, yeah, it was the unsafe setup that they set up, but like they weren't trying to do it to hurt somebody. It was just a not smart move that happened. I don't think I was hurt on accident. I think this was my purpose. This is the reason I was put on this earth, and so not much to be upset about.
And that comes from your faith. You say that you have a strong
Mm-hmm.
faith. Have you always had a strong faith, or did your accident really help you lean into your faith?
Yes and no. I have great parents who raised me right, I feel, and I always had my faith. I kind of ran from it for a few years for different, thoughts and opinions that I had that were probably wrong. Were wrong, not probably. And I just remember about a month before I got hurt, I prayed for God to put me where He wanted me to be, because I didn't think I was there. And a month later, here I am.
That's so interesting for me to, or I should say, it's very difficult for me to be able to process and understand that. I mean, I don't have a strong faith, and I never have. Garrett does. So whenever I hear people talk about their faith, before I used to not be able to listen because I had like a bad relationship with faith, but now I'm just interested in listening to people's stories. And it's very difficult when you don't have faith to understand how you can be, and I don't know if grateful is the right word. So, but grateful for the experience that you went through to put you exactly where you are for a bigger purpose.
I mean, that's life. That's what we want. No, like a purposeless life is a miserable one. Miserable.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. And so we're all chasing purpose. I feel like I'm lucky enough to have read that old history book called the Bible to teach me what that purpose should be and what we're placed on this earth to do, which is to, glorify God and help others. That's it. That's all there is to it. And when given an opportunity to help more people, I can't see not being grateful for it.
Did you ever you didn't blame anybody, but did you have to help any of like your family members or friends or training partners that loved you and maybe they felt a certain anger for you that you didn't necessarily feel yourself?
Um, I don't know if anyone really expressed anger. They may have, but I was on a lot of drugs for the first few weeks, so
Fair.
who knows?
Very fair.
Yeah.
I do know that my accident was definitely, and I think this is true of almost every accident like mine. It was definitely harder on the people around me than it was on me. Like it was way harder on my mom, way harder on my dad, way harder on my siblings and friends than it ever was on me. Because they had to sit there and watch. They had to sit there and watch me struggle. They had to sit there and um, just watch things. I had things to do. I had things to work on. I had purposes to fulfill. I had, I had to relearn how to tie a shoe and set up. Like I had things to do. I didn't have to think about it as much, but they did. They got to sit there and think about it a ton. So I don't know if they had anger. I've actually never asked that, but I do know it was much harder on them.
Did you ever get frustrated with them? Did you ever get like I went through this and it almost feels like, I mean, you seem like your focus was just getting better. Like you had shit to do.
Mhm.
But were there ever times where you kind of looked around and you were like, I'm the one that's going through the hardship right now, but you're making it about you?
Oh man, I wish I could say I didn't, but I did. Um, for very short periods of time, when you're having bad days and you're frustrated with like bumping into things with your chair or dropping stuff, or even when you're like learning how to shower or put your pants on, like yeah, I probably had a few moments like that, but they were short lived. I'm not someone that gets frustrated with people very easily. I get frustrated with myself very easily, but not with other people. I try to give them some grace and and try to think about it from their perspective a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
That's really crazy. Yeah, thinking about it, uh, thinking about things from other people's perspectives, but you won't even like you don't give yourself the same grace to try to figure things out kind of in the world that we're in right now, right? Like we're all
Mhm.
trying to figure shit out. We're trying to figure out uh how CrossFit HQ is moving. We're trying to figure out how our president's moving and you won't give yourself grace if you like as you're learning things. Like, hey, I thought this way, but now I think this way. Let me give myself some grace because I thought that way to start with.
Most of it's like physical stuff for me, but that's probably because I'm
Oh,
a little
okay.
arrogant about my physical prowess. Like I'm supposed to be good at doing things physically, so like that's where I get frustrated.
Okay. So you talked about learning how to get to shower again, to tie your shoe again, to what was the most frustrating thing and who also like who helped you learn how to do all this stuff again?
Um, like the very honest answer is the hardest thing was learning how to get in on and off the toilet, man. Like that was a rough one, even with like the chairs they have and all that kind of stuff. I just couldn't get those transfers down. Craig Hospital does a really great job. That's where I did my rehab. They're like 5 minutes from us. We do some mentorship stuff for them now. They do a great job teaching those things, and I think like that was really hard for me. Like that was probably the thing that took me the longest to learn is like getting in and out of the shower and getting on and off the toilet, which sounds weird, but the rest of it seemed to come pretty quickly.
You talk about
Oh, well,
leaving.
here, Corey's back again. Showering with pants on is a power move.
Yeah, I do
um,
laundry somehow.
I mean, why not do two in one, right? So you talk about leaving the hospital and going back to CrossFit as quickly as you did you
Mhm.
do that because you felt like the hospital wasn't helping you? Did you feel like you knew more and felt like you knew your progress was going to be better served by following CrossFit than the actual PT that what they were trying to give you?
Um, Partly, probably. What they wanted me to do in PT, and they've completely revamped their program. Their PT looks a lot more like CrossFit than it does anything else right now. They have rings and ski ergs and dumbbells and all this other kind of stuff now. But like back then, it was like, yeah, do some lat pull downs and do some rickshaw dips, and I was like, that's great for building strength. I already have that. I need to figure out how to do the other stuff.
Mhm.
And so like part of it was like, yeah, I thought CrossFit was way better for my recovery and for learning how to operate in a world that's not built for me, but also like just miss my community, man. I just love being in the gym with my people and throwing around things and having a good time. And so I just wanted to go back to that.
Was it weird when you like after you started going back to the gym? Was it weird for you to go back to the gym? Did people like were people like,
Not
oh,
not even for a second. Not even for a second. Like there may have been a few that didn't know like how much to help or how much not to help, but it was right back to the same jokes and making fun of each other and just figuring out how to work out. So like I didn't feel awkward being back in there for a second.
Did you have anybody come up to you because you said you didn't feel awkward? Did you have anybody come up to you and say, "Listen, I don't know how to not worry about you or not look at you with pity or anything like that, or like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened to you." Like, did you ever have those conversations with people that were really like, I don't know how to support you where you are now, which is don't feel bad for me. I'm here, I'm back. Let's get back to work.
Um, yeah, I mean a few. It was very genuine. Like I don't know how much you need me to help, or just let me know when you need help, or let me know if I'm helping too much. It was never like I don't know how to process what you're going through or anything like that. I mean, a lot of it just came down to we made a lot of wheelchair jokes. It was very uncomfortable for my mother. She still hates my wheelchair jokes.
Yeah.
Kevin was on pods cracking jokes really soon after it crossed that.
Oh yeah, like maybe a couple like a month or two or three or something like that. Right afterwards, I was back to crack. I mean, we did it in my hospital room. Me and my friend Nathan and Don, who are affiliate owners, and they were in my room, and we were just coming up with all the twisted jokes we could play on people with a wheelchair. And we forgot my mom was sitting in the corner at one point. She's like, "Guys, you guys stop! I can't take this anymore. Like this is too much." And like we
Mhm.
went to that immediately. I made the joke before my first surgery. Like they had just told me I was going to die and I probably wasn't going to survive. And I just called all my family and everything like that. My buddy Tyler was in the room, and I turned to him and I was like, "Do you think if I open a gym after this, they'd let me call it Brokeback CrossFit?"
That's amazing.
And that's, I mean, what else are you going to do, man? Like, I think if you don't have like a sense of humor about this stuff, like it's just going to beat you down. And there's a lot of great jokes.
How many
Oh my
Yeah, I
God.
mean, you said your mom obviously, your mom doesn't like your wheelchair jokes, but how
I know.
how many people do you say these jokes around and they just look at you like, "Oh my god, you shouldn't say these jokes about
Or can
yourself."
I laugh?
Or
Or
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
it's the can I laugh. I always get that. Like I have
Yeah.
people who are like, "Can I laugh at that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's why I made the joke."
oh my
Um,
God.
but I mean, that's the best part about it. Like, I teach seminars for CrossFit, and I always lay in some pretty heavy wheelchair jokes in there. And I think I know part of it is I want people to be comfortable with the wheelchair. And most people who aren't around them or have never been around someone in a wheelchair, they're just not. And if I can make them so uncomfortable with jokes that they have to be comfortable with me, um, you know, it's better for them.
Chase threw a joke at you on one of the podcasts, and he was like,
Oh
I told Kevin break a leg before this podcast, but
yeah,
things got awkward."
yeah, Oh, it's great. I try to make everyone makes the jokes. Like eventually, if you hang out with me enough, you will start making wheelchair jokes, and then you'll forget not to do them when I'm not around, and then people look at you funny. But
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when
I
Garrett
get
was putting up the story, she picked this song and she was like, and this was after
Too
we
much?
talked to Lisa, and
Yeah.
she was like, Kevin has a great sense of humor. Obviously, we've heard you and whatever, but like we're meeting you for the first time. Like, are there rules? Are there not? And she's like,
No.
not at all. So when Garrett was putting up the story and she's like, go listen to the story I put up, and it was like
I like-
walking down the street.
No, it was like, I like the way you walk.
or like the way you walk.
Yeah.
And I was
Oh, those are the best. I'm all for those. I can't put a toe over the line, so you guys don't have to worry about it either. That kind of thing. Like I don't know if my toes over the line or not. I can't feel it, so just run with it.
Yo, your roast, I watched your roast live when it first came out, and your wife's her name on the
The
roast.
walking Ogar.
The walking Ogar.
Yeah, that's our Instagram handle.
That's amazing, dude. I was dying, and I hadn't even really like that was one of the first long form things I had
long form.
Shut
you
up.
can laugh.
Pause.
Long
pause,
form. Yeah.
Long form. As a lesbian, that was one of the first long form things that I had ever consumed of yours.
You made him laugh. Look at
Clip
that.
That's good.
That's it.
That's
That's
good.
it.
And it was a riot. Your friend Nate, like it just the whole thing was absolutely awesome, and just nobody cared. Nobody cared in the chat. Everybody was having a good time, and
that's what it is, man. That's what it should be. If you can't joke around, like I always talk to new patients and I tell them if like a word or a joke
CrossFit, stand up for yourself. You're such a dick.
I would, but then he'd feel bad about how short he is.
Yes.
But like that's what I tell new patients when I talk to them at Craig or have new wheelies come into the gym. It's like a word or a joke or a phrase should never have so much power over you that it makes you upset. Like it's just a word, and it tells me more that how you feel about yourself than the word could ever describe. And so like I've never understood being upset about those things. And the more you focus on being upset about those things, the less you're gonna get done in life, the less you're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, that's a huge mind shift that I'm in the process of, because I was that one that for a very long time words had way bigger meaning on me when somebody else said them than they should have. And so I'm in that whole process now of like, it's okay to laugh with people. It's okay to disagree with people. It's okay if they say this, if they call you names or whatever, you're not. It says more about who they are than who you are and how they're trying to come at you. Have you always had this personality, or has your injury really shaped this personality?
I got mad about things when I was younger. I mean, I'm a redhead. I obviously had a temper.
I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous about being on a podcast with two
redheads.
gingers.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
cooked. It's done.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck.
I mean, when I was younger, I would get mad about things like, people calling you names like that. I had temper. I would lash out about stuff, but then I just learned that it didn't really matter, and they were literally just saying it because they weren't smart enough to say anything that was worthwhile. And if they're not smart enough, like if you argue with an idiot, you have to argue at their level. And so just let them be an idiot. If they're not smart enough to come up with something that is actually meaningful, then good for you. You're dumb.
Yeah. Calling names isn't going to make your point the way you want to, but it's going to give me a clear idea of the type of person that you are. So my point's proven, but your point is not proven.
Before we get back to the fun one more more serious question, but do you
of many we're going to be on here for a minute.
It's
shoot,
gluten things. Do you ever get aggravated or annoyed when someone is offended for you, and it's like that kind of white knight thing?
No,
you just let them white knight.
They mean well. Like I see this like a teaching opportunity. I offend people. Like I offend people for me all the time. Like it happens all the time. Like I was in a grocery store like a year ago, and the lady's like, "Hey, do you need help out with your groceries?" And I was like, "No, I'm a pretty good self-propelled shopping cart." And this older lady behind me grabbed my shoulder and she's like, "Don't talk about yourself that way. You're more than a shopping cart." And I was like, "Hey, let me tell you why that was a joke."
It was
And why
just meant to be a joke. Like,
and so like first getting hurt maybe a little bit more, but no, I just think it's a teaching opportunity. They mean well. Like if you assume positive intentions from people, it makes life a lot easier, and it also gives you an opportunity to be like, hey, like here's where you went wrong, and here's what you can do in the future, so it doesn't happen to someone else. So like, why not take it as an opportunity to teach and educate rather than let it ruin your day and be upset about it?
yeah,
Like
you kind
no
of
one has a
talked.
good day when they're mad.
Yeah, and you talked about that with with Sevon or whatever, where someone was telling you that I also believe that they were in a wheelchair and someone came up and was like, "Can I help you?" And the person in the wheelchair got so offended and was like, "Why would they come up to me? I can do this by myself." And you had shared that that could have been a really good teaching moment for them
Hmm.
of like, "I appreciate it. I appreciate you being a kind person to come over and ask me if I need help, but I'm good. I'm good." So where's that line for you personally? Or do you always just make light of it and you always take it as a teachable moment? Whereas, like, there is teaching people to be kind, and then not every piece of kindness is looking at you like you're inferior to do what you need to do.
I mean, I think it's natural human instinct. You see someone that you think is struggling, you want to ask for help. I think that's a very kind thing. Why would I ever take offense to that? For one, um, for two, I don't know if there's a line. No one's really hit it before. I guess if they came over and like started trying to rip my chair out of my hands and insisting on it, I may get a little upset about that.
Mhm.
Or like they weren't listening. But other than that, it's like, you know, you can explain things to them, and then sometimes they get mad because you just explain things to them and it made them feel dumb or it made them embarrassed.
Mm.
You know, so they can get mad, but that's fine. Like they'll think about it later and realize that I was just trying to help.
Do you and
So
your
you
wife
can't.
chuckle to yourself when you make jokes and people get like, "Oh my god, he's making this joke right now?"
Oh, it's my wife's favorite thing to do. Any anytime she sees me backing up in a crowd, she starts making beeping noises. We did. I ran a nonprofit for like 6-7 years, and we were doing a fundraiser up in Washington for it. And I was surrounded by people that I knew. It was a bunch of people that I knew from CrossFit, worked for CrossFit with me, and me and my wife had been married for like 2 months, so not a lot of them had met her yet.
Mhm.
And I was sitting up there talking about the nonprofit, and she just goes, "Stand up, we can't hear you." and and my friend who's sitting in the front row, I could see her getting really mad, and I was like, "Hey guys, that's my wife. Say hi."
Like,
And afterwards, my friend came up to me. She's like, "I'm really glad you said that was your wife because I was getting ready to punch her in the
I was
face."
gonna say
Oh.
the Dukes came out and she was
Yeah,
ready.
yeah. So it's her favorite thing to do is to make jokes to make people uncomfortable when we're in crowds. It makes her happy. I'm happy to oblige. It's fun for me.
I love that.
You have
I
an amazing wife.
love
That's
that.
awesome.
The
Yeah.
fact that she
Because
that she does that.
you would see most wives like, "Don't talk about my husband that way. I'm about to punch you in the face. Like, don't say that about my husband." But like, no, your wife's like, "Stand up. We can't hear you."
Oh yeah, yeah.
We talked to both Bill and Gabe with the mic, and they both told us some really fun stories about interactions with you while being on the floor and
Yeah.
calling the adaptive games. I forgot what Gabe's story was, but it was really funny. And he's like, "I'm not saying that." And then
Oh yeah. Mhm.
Bill's story was like, "I'm gonna need you to say cripple at least 4 times."
And you're
And
under the quota
yeah,
and you better start saying it. And Bill was like, I'm not
Yep.
saying it.
it,
I try to get Bill and Rookie and Mike and Gabe and all those and Bella, all of them, to say cripple out loud, and none of them would do it. They're all scared.
yeah. It's why do you if you guys are okay with
Because it's been taught that that is an awful word to say to people.
Well, yeah. I mean
right
it
after
has.
Sevon says, "Hey, we're watching Wheel Wad," which is the cripple games. Like he'll say it
Well,
87 times.
Savon doesn't care, and I told him that I think it's hilarious and awesome, and so he's kind of running with it. But I get it. There are some people who are like who aren't okay with their. I feel like if you let a word really upset you like that, then you're probably not okay with your situation or who you are. And I think it's really hard sometimes for people to not identify as their disability. And
Right.
when you identify as
Yeah.
your disability and you say a word that kind of attacks that disability, I can see feeling attacked by that. But that's the problem with identity. You're not your disability. That's not who you are. Like I am not a guy in a wheelchair. I'm Kevin who happens to use a wheelchair. And so if you want to attack the wheelchair, great. I think it's stupid sometimes too. We're on the same page.
I
So
have
like
to stop.
I
Go ahead.
is that I was just saying like I think the more we can like make words, I wouldn't say meaningless, but have less power over us, the better life's going to be.
Yeah, and I think it really comes down to the person because you hear the opposite. So you hear some people say that you should say the disability, I am this chance to.
See, that's what I said. I'm like, you don't have to call them cripples. Just be like, that error was crippling.
And they didn't say it. None of them said it.
Wouldn't
Neither
do it.
one.
No.
Neither
I even
one.
tried to get Rookie, who's an Aussie. Like Aussies, I can pretty much get to say anything, and he wouldn't say it.
He wouldn't say it. He wouldn't say it. But you hear it depends on the person. So you'll hear someone that will say, like, so we have a 8-year-old and he's autistic. So some people will say you need to say my child has autism or my autistic child. And so for you, what you're saying is if you say it in a certain way, it becomes your identity. It's the only thing that you identify with. It's the only feelings that you have when you identify with your disability. Did you ever struggle with that when you first got injured? Did that mindset change with time of realizing that you're still Kevin, you just happen to be now be in a wheelchair?
No, and I mean, a lot of that goes back to my faith. I never identified as anything other than a child of God. My identity's in my faith, and so like, take my legs away, take another hand, even take my beautiful beard away. It's not who I am, and
See,
so it
we should,
doesn't matter.
babe, we should have stopped sooner identifying as our disability, which is being a lesbian.
Yeah.
And just went
Yep.
with the
Yeah. Listen, it's very freeing when you don't lead with a certain identity and you're just like, hey, this is just who I am. Come hang out or not. It's cool,
Yeah, well, and I think if we start identifying as whatever, whether it be like your disability or your sexuality, if that is who you are at your core, that
Yeah.
that's a shallow understanding of who you are, and it's kind of an insult to yourself because you're so much more than one aspect of your life, and I just never got that.
Yeah, I
Thanks,
think
Pat.
have you ever made a bet to where if you lost that you would shave your beard?
I did. Well, it wasn't a bet. Back in like I think it was 2015. I put out a thing. I used to work a lot with Barbells for Boobs, and I was doing a fundraiser for them. And I basically said if we raised over $2,000 in the next couple of weeks, I'd shave my beard. I think we raised close to 3, and so shaved it off. It's not a good look. When I was younger, I looked like remember that 1990s Peter Pan cartoon?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I looked
Oh,
like
no.
him when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm older, if I shave my beard, I look like Sloth from the Goonies. So it's not a good look, regardless.
I'm not even gonna lie. My first thought was the Goonies. I wasn't even thinking about Peter
Yeah.
Pan, but like, yeah, okay. I'm old enough to know that. We're about the same age, dude. This one, I don't want to lose this. Lisa Gall, she's talking to Pool Boy, of course. Kevin and Shannon are in the process of creating a new adaptive education course. Is that with CrossFit, in conjunction with CrossFit, or you guys are just doing it on your own?
Yes and no.
Cool.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
To be
we're
continued.
I've put it out there to them. I might chat with them a little bit more about it later. I just one thing we've seen over the years with running all these competitions is the hard stuff for coaches. Like there's the easy stuff that you can teach as far as like how to talk to adaptive athletes, get them into your gyms. I even think like once you understand the principles of adapting, it's not super hard. I think the hard part is recognizing the difference between impairment and fitness. Like, is that lack of range of motion part of their impairment? Is it something that we cannot train through or train past? Or is it their fitness and that's something we can train through and train past? And I think that's very hard to recognize, especially if you're not, you know, when you have a disability yourself. I can be like, I don't care that you have this disability. We're gonna try it anyway, and people seem to be okay with that a little bit more. But someone who's able-bodied being like, yeah, I don't care about your impairment. We're gonna try it anyway. Seems to be taken a little bit differently. So one thing we're aiming to do is more of this um, education on spotting that kind of stuff, working with adaptive athletes, getting some perception on that, and also some of the science that we've. I'm a huge data nerd, so some of the science and data we've collected over the last almost 12 years is pretty cool, and it makes life a little easier for coaches. And so we want to share that with the community, and so that's what we're trying to do.
And I feel like, another part of what you were telling Seb is that it's not usually the athletes that are scared to try things, it's the coaches that are scared to try new things or push athletes when they come in, when they're when they're adaptive. So I used to be a CrossFit coach, and I had an adaptive athlete. He came into the gym and he was in a wheelchair. And I was excited to work with him, but I immediately felt like I was incapable of being able to help him, because I was like, he's going to do something that's going to hurt himself. And I was grateful for him because it was burpees or something on the floor. And he was like, I can get out of my wheelchair. And I was like, but do you need me to come over when he's like, no, I can get out of my wheelchair. He got down all the way on the floor. He did whatever it was, push-ups or burpees or whatever variation we figured out. And he got back in his wheelchair and got to the next thing. And it was more terrifying for me as the coach than it was for him. But one of the things I love about your messaging, and I call it your asshole approach, I think, because you use the word asshole, that a lot of times you get called an asshole because you call it like it is. And you were telling the story about someone coming in and it was getting in and out of the chair, and somebody that came with them, whether it was a family member or whatever, like immediately wanted to go over and help. And you were like, just leave them, because independence is the most important thing that any of us can have, whether you're an adaptive athlete or you're not. How much of that do you deal with athletes and family members when it comes to this line of, like you were saying, pushing to grow and also understanding what the limitations are with their abilities?
Quite a bit. It's quite a lot, especially we had a great season this year. We had I think just at or maybe over 100 brand new athletes who have never competed in the adaptive CrossFit Games or in Wheelwatt ever compete at the games this year. We had over 300 new athletes in the Open, so a lot of people are very new to this. And I mean, honestly, we live in a society where medical community tells them they can't, and they shouldn't, and they won't. We have, and this is, I think this part is out of kindness, but we have a society that won't let them struggle, and wants to make their life easier. But when you strive to make something easier, you don't necessarily make it better. It's going to make it a lot harder. Like, everyone wants their own autonomy. I don't want to have go on date night and have to have my wife grab my chair for me. I want to open the door for her, get her in the car, and then go get in the car myself. Like, I don't. A lot of the psychological or downfalls and a lot of the hardships that people struggle with mentally has less to do with the actual impairment. Like, it's not like, hey, my legs don't work, so now I'm sad. It's, I can't do this for myself, and that makes me feel inferior, so now I'm sad. And so when you're constantly doing things for people and not letting them struggle, nothing good in this world comes without struggle. Not a single thing. I haven't never had anyone point to anything in this world that wasn't hard, or that was easy and was awesome. And so you have to let people struggle. So a lot of times with newer athletes or athletes, and they're like, I can't do this. And I'm like, well, how hard did you actually try it? Like, was it once and it was hard, and so you didn't try it anymore? And the big payoff there is, like, we have so many, probably thousands of stories where people were like, I can't, and they're like, try anyway, and they tried and they did. It makes me think of one of the athletes this year. Great dude, super, super. Like the dude's just always happy. James Sutcliffe. He's from the UK and he's a stellar athlete. And looks way better with his shirt off than I do, to be perfectly honest. And he had sent me a message. He's like, "Hey, dude, I can't do rope climbs." And I was like, "You're gonna try until the time cap runs out." And he, I was busy doing other things. I didn't get to watch the heat, and he found me afterwards. And he's like, "Dude, I did all the rope climbs. I've never done a rope climb before, and I did all the rope climbs." And so a lot of this being an asshole is perceived as an asshole, but it's more or less just I believe in your capabilities more than you do.
And that's we've had to learn a lot of that for our son. In the beginning, we did a lot for him. We would talk for him because we were the only ones that understood him. We were the only ones who knew what he meant, or because he talked late and all that. And even now, like he's autistic, so we've had to stop doing that for him though, and just let him have the conversation with whoever he's having the conversation with.
Mhm.
Be like, hey, even feeling like, oh, he's bothering somebody right now, I should stop him from bothering somebody. Like, hey, that's human interaction. He has to go through that. If that person wants to stop talking to him, he's going to have to learn how that goes when someone wants to stop talking to you. I've had people want to stop talking to me. You know what I mean? Like, he's got to figure that out.
Well, and the amazing part about letting them do that and letting people struggle a little bit is that it not only teaches them what they're capable of and and how to navigate life a little easier, but it also teaches the person that was interacting with them. So now that person has a greater understanding. So the next person they talk to in a wheelchair or that's autistic or missing a limb, they have a greater understanding. If we're always doing things for people that and never letting them struggle, no one ever learns. The person doesn't learn, the person talking to them doesn't learn, and we're in the same spot in the same feeling of like this helplessness or inferiority, and it's not true. It doesn't have to be that way.
And
And
also,
go ahead.
I was just to follow up on that one. Also, if I go over and help him and talk for him and like do it for him, is that more because I want to help him or I want to help me? Like, do I
Yeah.
want to feel better about it, or do I actually want to help him?
Like, do you think your son was actually uncomfortable in that conversation? Probably not, but you were.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. And
Yep.
that's really big for us now, is not putting our fears, our uncomfortability on
Mhm.
him, and realizing that those are ours, And so when he starts programs, we let them know that he's autistic, but immediately follow up after that. I'm not telling you this to treat him differently. I'm just giving you the information of letting you know. But say no, these are the rules. You have to follow the rules. This is how the game is played. Teach him just like everybody else, And that was a really big thing, really a big hardship for me, because I did feel like I was helping him, but I actually was hindering him and getting in his way to be able to figure that stuff out. And I think that we did that a lot with his speaking too. So he didn't really speak until he was about 3.5, 4. And
Yeah.
we just always spoke for him. And I don't think, thinking back, I don't think we ever gave him that chance to
No, we
try.
didn't at all.
And so, but I
Well,
don't, okay, go ahead.
I mean, but what a beautiful thing! What a beautiful thing for your son to have people who love him enough to be uncomfortable for him. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's why I never get mad about these things, because it's like how amazing. Like, people think people are stupid and mean and horrible people all the time, but like if you actually look at how people interact and you don't assume or you assume positive intention, we live in a beautiful world full of really kind people. And um, just because it makes us uncomfortable or makes us feel a certain way doesn't mean their intentions weren't positive. And how awesome is it that people love others enough that they want to help? Imagine a world where no one tried to help others ever. That'd be way worse.
Mm-hmm. And I think that we are in a society where it's not just our kids that have disabilities or anything like that. It's everybody. Everybody's trying to like protect each other. Where, like you said, nobody likes to be uncomfortable. So if I'm uncomfortable, I don't want my kid to be uncomfortable, because the whole idea of we're trying to do better than our parents did, because we feel like in so many aspects our parents ruined our life, and we don't want to be those people. We want to do better for our kids, but in reality we're figuring out that we made it. We're okay.
Yeah, we
It
survived.
was a really big gift that we were given to figure out life, as crazy as it was. And now we get to support our kid trying to navigate the same thing.
And also CrossFit teaches you to be uncomfortable. Like, it teaches you to
Get uncomfortable being uncomfortable. That's the tagline.
Mhm.
yeah. And so, yeah, I was uncomfortable for like the first 5 minutes, but then once he cracked the first joke, I was good to go. Like, legit.
Because she knew she could laugh.
Because then I was like, oh, can I laugh? Yeah, I can laugh. Let's go.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I don't know, CrossFit's taught me so much, and then especially with you in the space and doing all the work that you do in the space and your wife, and it just it makes it easier to have these conversations. And that's what we should be having, right? Uncomfortable conversations, because then it gets to be a comfortable conversation and it's no big deal and no one's upset or offended, or you know what I mean? Like, it's just, oh, he's cool. Like, he's chill.
Yeah, part of all of the roles that I have, whether it be gym owner, owner of Wheel Wad, working for CrossFit with affiliates, most of it's just having uncomfortable conversations. And there's a great book out there called Crucial Conversations. It's a phenomenal book. If you're someone that has to talk to people or have interactions with humans on a daily basis, which is pretty much all of us. And
Yep.
there's one question in it that I always go back to, and I think it's simple, yet pretty complex. Is like, why would a rational person act this way? Like, if I'm about to have a really hard conversation with somebody, I can't assume what their reaction is going to be. And if they're doing something I don't like, the question of like, why would a rational person act this way? And we always think of ourselves as the most rational. Like, it's just embedded in our psyche, is like, we think we're the most rational person. And so if I ask, yep, that's it.
Oh,
If I ask myself, like, why would a rational person act this way? It helps us get to see their side of things a little bit more and get to like the true story of what's going on, opposed to like assuming their intentions.
Mhm.
right.
Yeah, we like to tell ourselves what someone else's intentions are
Yeah.
without having conversations and stuff like that. So I wanted to just ask you, and it goes back to your injury and how I heard you say, because Souza asked the question, this has always been the question I wanted to ask you, of like, did you ever hate CrossFit? Did you ever stray away from CrossFit? Did you ever blame CrossFit? And you never have.
No.
And in situations that happen, as Garrett was saying before, like, we look to blame somebody. So something really bad happens. For you, it was your injury. We're like, well, who do you blame? Because we're always looking for somebody. CrossFit went through something 2 years ago when when Lazar drowned at the games, and you feel this intense blame game of, it's Dave's fault, it's HQ's fault, it's the blame game. When you started to see this blaming of everything that was going on as a member of CrossFit, how were you able to help support affiliates, athletes, people in the space to process this idea of, we don't have to blame somebody? We can learn from this and we can be there for each other.
I mean, I've had a lot of conversations about that whole situation with my role for CrossFit, and even at the games that year, and since running the WeOD games. And I think what we have to ask ourselves is like, what is that person going through? What like, because we want to blame people, not because we like to blame people, it's because we have an emotion that maybe we can't handle, or maybe we can't process through, or maybe we can't put our finger on. And so just talking to them, getting to understand what emotion they're having trouble processing, or what emotion they're having trouble, expressing, or what emotion they're feeling. And a lot of it's just letting people talk and asking them questions. And I think that helps people a lot more than they realize. a lot of those conversations, I was very quiet. I let people talk, and a lot of people process through talking to someone, even if it's just yelling at someone, and having an understanding going into that conversation that, um, it's not you. It's maybe not even the situation, but it's something that they're struggling with and need to process through, and you can help them through that. Again, what else are we on this earth to do besides help people? And so I think that's just how I approached all those conversations. Like, what emotion could they potentially be feeling, struggling with, and how can I help them work through that?
Dude, you are the coolest dude ever.
I don't know. I'm always hot. Like, I wear like t-shirts in like 30 degrees.
Pat would yell at me and tell me I'm too nice. But wait, what was this? The Bay Show, Jake. Hey Kevin, you should come to Coaches Congress in Madrid next year. That would be awesome. Are you doing any of those? Is that anything you consider doing? I mean, you're a coach.
I am, and honestly, I would love to. But the travel schedule for a lot of things, like if I get the opportunity, yeah, I'd love to. I love Spain. Spain's awesome. I've been there a few times, and they have like 1 kilo steaks, which is my favorite thing I've ever had. They bring it. They literally bring you 2.2 pounds of steak and say, "Go ahead."
With no judgment.
With
No fork and a knife.
Have you ever had the
No, I mean-
Brazilian churrasco where they bring you like 4 different types of steaks and they just keep cutting it off the thing for you? Like it's like
like
an all you
Brazilian steakhouse.
It's like, yeah, it's called churrasco.
Yeah,
And they just like chop. Yeah, it's amazing, dude.
I mean, I go to like what's it called? Fogo de Chao is one of my favorite restaurants for that very reason, because they'll bring out all the meats and just slice it onto my plate.
Here, I'm
And
talking to another straight guy about meat. I gotta stop this. This is like
gee, I'm a redneck. I'm a redneck from Missouri. There's not much else to talk to me about besides lifting weights
and meat.
grilling meats.
There you go.
I thought he was gonna say eating meat. Same.
Yeah.
Lisa.
Wow, CrossFit. That's
a cool shirt you got on. Where'd you get that?
All this stuff was designed by Lisa Gall herself. We have a whole bunch of adaptive CrossFit games, shirts, and apparel that she designed. She can chime in and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's still some up on the site. But she created this really cool booth with all this stuff, so athletes could and people come and watch athletes can have some memorabilia from this year. I mean, it's the biggest year we've ever had for adaptive athletes, and so I think it was pretty cool.
How did you feel when the games did separate the adaptive athletes and like the masters and the teens, the age groups, all that stuff? It was
one of my suggestions.
Okay.
I mean, I worked at the, what I'll call the able-bodied games when the adaptive division was there for the first 2 years, and we could bring 3 divisions and very few athletes, and we only had eight divisions back then. And knowing what it could be, and knowing the scheduling is so hard with that many athletes, and knowing what masters and teens could be, and also knowing that like you don't know how cool masters and teens and adaptive athletes are until you sit down and watch them. And so like if you're not getting enough eyes on, then you're not going to see how cool it is, and it doesn't have a chance to grow. And knowing the constraints on like scheduling, timing, with the setup that they had at the time, it just wasn't possible to bring to light these amazing athletes the way I wanted to. And so I remember having a conversation where I was asked like, hey, what do you think we could do to make this bigger, better, and grow it? Because like, as much as people think CrossFit doesn't care, the games team actually really fucking cares. And so every single time they'd be like, how can we make this bigger? How can we make it better? How can we give more eyes onto these athletes and make it better for these athletes? And I was like, you got to separate them, at least for a little while until we figure things out. You got to give them a chance to grow into what they can be. And right now, only being able to have so many athletes in so many divisions, it just wasn't viable. And knowing that there were competitions out there like Pitt and like Wheelwad that could handle these things, they were already handling them, grow them, give them the exposure they deserved. I just thought that was the best way to grow the sport.
I think there was confusion a little bit when everything started coming out about separating you guys and separating from the able games and the elite athletes, because as we know, the games are literally for the elite athletes. Yeah, the teams are there and everybody else is there, but main focus, all the eyes are, the stadium fills up when the elite athletes are going. And there was this confusion about if you guys were to separate, it would take away that following. It would take all the eyes off of everybody that was there because it's on CrossFit's YouTube. All of the numbers are there. All the sponsors are there. The money is there. Everything is there. And if you take yourselves out, you're going to lose that. Was there any concern with that? Or for you, you were like,
not to me.
Not to you? Yeah.
Not to me. I knew the caliber of athlete we had. I knew how cool it was for both, the age groups and adaptive. But people have to choose. Like, what are they going to watch on the live stream? CrossFit has to choose what they can stream on the live stream, and we don't have to do that. It's all adaptive all the time, and you can see it in our numbers. Like, you can see it in the growth of the sport over the last 2 years. You can see it in the live stream numbers for masters, teens, and adaptive. Our live stream numbers have grown exponentially since splitting, and I mean in leaps and bounds. I think last year we were with at the same spot as like in Madison with the able body games. There may have been a few thousand people watching the adaptive athletes, maybe on the live stream. This last year in day one alone, I think we were somewhere around 50,000 views.
Wow.
Amazing.
And so, like, you got to give things a chance to grow and get the exposure and not have something else take away from them. And I think that's exactly what we did. And I think exactly what masters and teens did. And I think it's been a really good move for everyone.
When the adaptive was at the games,
just don't lose this.
Yeah. When the adaptive games was at the games, and you said you were very limited on athletes that were able to go. They said you had 3 categories. This is how many athletes you could bring. Did you have a lot of interest in athletes, or was that perfect for the number of athletes that were interested in competing?
Oh, we could have had a lot more athletes. We could have, but they're like, here's the time constraints. Here's what you guys have to work with. How are you, like, they basically asked us, like, how can we fit as many people? How big can we make this with these time constraints? And so at the time, it's like, it's just true that certain divisions in adaptive require more work and more setup and more equipment than other divisions. I'm one of them. Seated athletes take a lot of planning and setup and equipment, and it wasn't a feasible thing with the time constraints that we had, being that it was in a single weekend. Anyone that's run a larger competition understands, like, a perfect example, like we had 270-ish athletes. A 6-minute workout takes 4 to 5 hours to get through.
Oh, wow. Okay.
How you gonna do that at the games when you're sharing 3 fields of play? When you only have 3 fields of play and you have elite able-bodied teams, masters divisions, teens divisions, and adaptive divisions, you can't take 4 hours to run through a single event and expect anyone to get more than 1 or 2 workouts in a weekend.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because like you said, especially being on this grand stage that you guys had this year and all of these athletes, every single heat was different. You weren't having the same floor, and correct me if I'm wrong, but even sometimes in the same heat, you've got different floors. So like this lane is different than this lane because this person's ability is different than this person's ability. So when you constantly have to take the floor down, rebuild the floor, move this, change this, and whatever, you can't do that in that time constraint. And it seems like for you too, because I know, I believe this year you introduced like the box walks for something where you would, like, you're also getting creative because it's the sport, it's the best of the best, and you don't always want it to be the same thing for these athletes. You want to push them to that next level, that elite level. You don't want it to just be like, hey, come see them, clap for them or whatever. You really want to give them the opportunity to be on that elite level.
We're testing for the fittest, not the least impaired, or not the one who can memorize the movements the best. So we need to have the space to be creative in what we throw at them to make sure that there's no holes in their fitness. And doing that in even a 4-day period with 3 fields of play alongside 6 other, full divisions is really hard to do. I would say, like, do well. And so like the split was something that I think was incredibly necessary, at least for a few years while we figured things out and built things up and got people's eyes on. And um, I you know, I didn't see another way to get around that. And so that was, people may have been mad about it. People may have not liked it at first, but I hope they see the necessity for it now.
Well, we don't like change and we bitch and complain anytime something changes. So it would be very unnatural if you guys didn't get some pushback on some shit because it's
Listen,
not done the same way.
It's the CrossFit community, man. And they more than any community I've ever been a part of, whether it be sports or whatever, man, do they care. Sometimes a
Yeah.
little too much, but man, do they care.
Yep. Yep.
Who programs for you guys?
Me, Stouty, and my wife.
That's literally it.
Yeah.
So no leaked events, no leaked workouts, none of that.
If something gets leaked, it's probably my fault. So
He's like, of the three, I take responsibility for that.
honestly, if there was someone who was going to leak something, it would probably be me. Lisa usually is on my ass before podcast. Make sure I don't say anything stupid.
How is programming with your wife? Do you guys have very different styles of programming? Do you guys?
No, we work together. Like she's a biomechanics nerd. I'm just a meathead. And so like it's actually really fun for us to have these discussions and talk through and like nitpick on this and ask questions here and challenge each other there. Like I absolutely love doing it.
She's biomechanics. You must just want to talk programming with her so you can feel smart for 5 seconds. Like
she is way smarter than I am by leaps and bounds. We play a little game because like I like biomechanics too. I'm not as smart as she is, but we play a little game when we're out like at airports or in public, and we'll like watch someone skate. And we're like, all right, let's see if we can guess what's wrong with them. Let's watch their gait and see if we can like have a pretty decent guess of what's going on. Is it a tight hip flexor? Is it like a disability? Did they break their ankle 4 years ago? And so we have fun with that.
Oh my
I love
God,
that.
y'all are hilarious.
I just always love to
now
ask.
I want to talk to your wife on the show.
God, talk bio because that's not me. Then
that's so funny.
Oh yeah.
Wait, I want to answer CrossFits. Was he worried about an event in Pitt? Are you talking about the Pit Games?
The Pit, yeah, well, not in a pit, but the Pit, the Legends, or the Pit Challenge. The guys who run the teams. Yeah, I'm not worried about those. Brock and those guys are awesome.
Do you get do people reach out to you now because they want to have more adaptive divisions at their events? Are you getting more like questions about that? Are people more interested?
We get some. We're working on putting together something we can give to events or sell to events and help them out with it. We just don't have the bandwidth to take on a lot of the smaller events. I also don't think that a lot of events understand the complexity or the necessary time that it requires to do these things. I think they think it's just gonna be like thrown in there with another heat, and it's like, nah, man, these are. Yeah. It's a complete field change every single heat. You have to have these many things, and like we used to do, like okay, like this competition only wants to have or only going to let us have like this many adaptive divisions, and so we have to kind of combine 2 or 3. And we just got to a point where, talking, me and Stouty talked, and we're like, that's not who we are. That's not what we want. We want to showcase everyone. We don't want to combine divisions just to make it fit on their field of play. If they want us there, they need to figure out a way to make us fit. And so we don't do it as much. There are some other people out there who help with this kind of stuff or who will put on events. And that's great. The more the merrier. If we have more adaptive events, that's 100% fine by me, and more companies doing it, 100% fine by me, because the main purpose to me is not having the event. Like the adaptive CrossFit Games, super cool. Love it. It's a really great showcase, but the purpose is not the event. The purpose is what the event can cause as a ripple effect in the disabled community. Mm-hmm. I want people watching who are in a wheelchair and thought they'd never do something ever again in their life because they got paralyzed to watch the adaptive CrossFit Games and be like, I can't do that. I lost my leg. I didn't think I was going to do this. Now I see someone else doing it. I can do that. And that's that's the real purpose of it. So the more we have that out in the ether, the better.
I saw, I wanted to share this with you because and this was before. I don't want you to think like Lisa messaged me and then all of a sudden my algorithm changed. That wasn't what actually
She's
happened.
lying. She's
No,
lying.
I'm not. Maybe, I don't know.
She's lying.
It's possible. I don't know what
Your phone's always listening. That's
yeah,
Always,
who freaking knows? But this came across my algorithm the other day. Sydney, 13-year-old girl, yeah, and like this is crazy, dude. Like and then she ends up going to college and playing tennis and all kinds of stuff. Like
inspired you the most?
Probably my dad. After I got paralyzed, it was me and him, and he just always gone and he's always shown up, and because of him I've shown up, and I'm so grateful. He's helped me so much along the way.
What advice would you give to anybody starting their own fitness journey?
Just start, be consistent, and just start. That's the hardest part.
I prioritize my health because
I want to be independent and I want to be strong and I want to do anything I set my mind to.
if you program the final event to help you win, what would that look like?
I'd probably say anything with a snatch, anything with dumbbells. I'm better with dumbbells.
Who in your fitness journey has inspired?
crazy cool. I went through her. She's with Tia.
What is it like being-
Mayhem? And now she's at like Clemson University playing tennis. And
Who in
it's just amazing, dude. And
yeah, I mean, she's a sweet girl and she's super awesome and has a great attitude towards things. And in all honesty, you could interview all 270 athletes that we had this year and get something incredibly similar to that. I mean, not saying that she's not special and awesome, but it's just the people who decide to show up and the people who decide to put themselves out there generally end up at the Adaptive CrossFit Games.
That was really, oh, Lisa, I know how to do my marketing
Yeah,
job.
she does. She knows exactly what to do. I just love hearing.
I don't even
Tell
know
me I
what
can't.
aperture means. I don't know what that means. I know Susan's been saying it for like a month straight. I don't know. I didn't look it up. I have no idea.
It's this whole idea of like, tell me I can't do something or tell me I'm not supposed to do something and watch me do it. You know, you hear so many times when something happens, especially in the disability community, where it's just like, you'll never do this. And you're like, it'll never happen. You will always need this. You will always need that. And you see everybody be like, watch me. Because independence is the thing that keeps us living. The minute our independence is gone, that's when deterioration starts. That's when end of life really starts to happen. You know, and I'm seeing that my mother is sadly suffering from Parkinson's, and it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And the one thing I constantly say is, you need to keep moving. We need to keep doing PT. We need to keep you as active and independent as possible, because once you lose that, that's when everything really starts to go. And seeing all your stories and watching the Adaptive and watching all the CrossFitters, like from whatever story they come from, they all say the same thing. I was told I couldn't. I was told I shouldn't. And then I walked into CrossFit and CrossFit showed me that I could. And that, I think, is just the biggest story that we can still take from this. And it just, we can do shit. We can do hard shit.
It's a chicken or the egg type situation to me, and I have never figured this out. So like, I see it predominantly in like the medical communities within the rehab centers, and I'm not saying they're not doing great work, and I'm not saying they're not trying their best.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it was like the attitude of the patients they were seeing was really negative, and that's all they ever saw, and so like, oh, I've never seen someone do this, so it must be impossible. Or if it started with, we need to keep these individuals safe, let's tell them they can't do these things, and so now the athletes believe they can't do any of these things.
Yeah.
But the truth is, no matter which way it started, it's wrong. It's very wrong. Like, especially when you're talking about disabilities, they're so unique. They're so different from person to person that there's no way to predict any of this stuff. Anyone that tells you they can predict how a spinal cord injury is going to manifest is kidding themselves. I have people who have the exact same injury as me. Their x-rays look identical to mine, and we present in completely different ways.
Yeah.
And so to be told that you can't just because someone before you didn't is silly. I mean, that's what most of like the human lifespan has been like, hey, this has never been possible. Flying a plane it wasn't a thing. The Wright brothers did it. It's what advances us forward as a race.
Most people would say that they found CrossFit because they watched like the CrossFit podcast back in the day, or the documentaries that went on Netflix and stuff like that, and then they just kind of walked into a CrossFit gym, drank the Kool-Aid, or their friend told them about it. Do you see any, like, is the media for you guys starting to draw attention to, hey, like it's reaching more adaptive athletes that are like, I want to do what that guy does. I want to do what Kevin Ogar does. I want to do what Sydney does, like stuff like that.
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%.
Awesome.
The amount within the last 2 years, the amount of gyms that have reached out to me from all over the world saying like, hey, we've never thought about this before, but we saw the games, or we saw this Instagram, or we saw this story, and we feel like we should be working with these people, has increased exponentially. Like, I've talked to people from like Latvia and Israel and all these different places that
Really cool.
like across the world, like random places you would never think about, Korea. Like it's been the last few years that I've really seen this pick up, where they're not waiting for the adaptive athlete to come to them and being like, oh shit, I don't know what to do, let me contact someone. I saw this and I want to work with this population. How do I do it? And that is what I've seen a huge increase of. And I've also seen a huge increase of adaptive athletes reaching out to me and being like, hey, I've never done this before. It looks cool. Where do I go?
And you say that you never want adaptive CrossFit affiliates. You just want affiliates.
I just want affiliates. They don't need to be separate. We're one community. It's not, you wouldn't be like, all right, everyone who doesn't have diabetes on this side, everyone who does have diabetes, you have to go to a special gym. Everyone has needs. Everyone's scaling. It's infinitely scalable for a reason. And so, are there situations where one-on-one training is appropriate? Absolutely. But that's true of able-bodied people. So why would I want people to think that they're two separate communities? I want my folks in wheelchairs and missing limbs and neurological conditions to remember that they're not their disabilities, they're humans. Let's interact with humans. And I want my able-bodied individuals to interact with my adaptive athletes and remember, like, they're not their wheelchair. And I think when we put those populations of able-bodied and disabled, or cripples, together,
I think that's only been once.
He's
He's only said it once, twice.
I've said it twice. Yeah.
Twice. Okay.
I've said it at least twice. I've definitely said it twice.
There's our 4 for the podcast.
And I think when you start putting these people together, it trickles out into the real world, and we start seeing people who have disabilities who are scared to go out into the real world because they have a disability lose that fear. And then we see people who are able-bodied and were at first, uncomfortable interacting with people with disabilities lose that fear, and not only lose the fear, but interacting with them like they're humans and not like they're something to be pitied or feel sorry for. And why would I ever want to split that up?
You make a really powerful statement where who are you gonna go? Fine, go ahead. Make the joke first before I get into some serious shit.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Clock wants to know, what are the prospects for the midget division? Can we get more coverage of it?
Oh man.
Everybody wants to see Tater Tot.
Dude, I'll have to tell you, that group has a great sense of humor. I had to tell them no to one thing this year that they really wanted. They wanted to walk out to one of their events to the song "Whistle While You Work."
You were like, no? You said no?
That was your line?
I told them if they could get 100% consensus from everyone in their division that they were all for it, not only for it but excited for it, I would try to make it happen. We didn't get 100% consensus, so we did not do it. They did, however. There were seven of them in that division. They did take a picture of my wife and they labeled it Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So
Joseph, what is the height limit for that
You're
division?
too tall, bro.
You're too
That's the
tall.
one thing you're too tall
It's-
for, my
Yeah.
man.
It's not just a height requirement. There is a portion of that, but it is also with limb length. So it's height and limb length has to be a certain ratio, and you can't be over 4'10".
Well, that was
in
that
most
whole
cases.
that was that whole controversy with that Snow White movie or whatever, and like, there was a fight in the dwarf community over that one when they were like, no, you can't have real dwarfs doing it. You have to have CGI. Like there was a big fight in that community over that. That was
There's always
crazy.
going to be. I've seen it in every. It's not just the short stature division. It's every division. There's some people who think it should be some way, and some people who think it should be other. Some people don't want to be called disabled. Some people hate the word handicap. Some people hate this word or that word, and that's why I go back to, like, who cares? It's a word, and
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
are usually trying to be respectful with the word they use because that's the word they know. Why would you berate them for it?
Pat Lang said he was too short for that division. Fair.
Ooh,
Fair enough.
damn, Pat.
Fair enough.
I don't know if he's too short, but he would get smashed. So
That's true.
Look, I
I don't know if
wouldn't
he'd
win
make
that division. I wouldn't win the wheelchair division. Like, I can't do a legless rope climb to say ever. Never will I
Dude,
do it. Like,
those guys are monsters. Like, if you got to watch any of it and got to watch Cade is a beast of a human being, and like super nice, funny dude. Just really cool guy, and the guy's a monster. Like, I don't think anyone wants that smoke. So
I don't. I definitely don't.
None of them.
Nope.
None of them.
I don't. Vertically challenged, Joseph. Yeah, you are. But I love you. I love to hug you. It's amazing.
Yes.
You're awesome.
Yeah. You talk a lot about getting back to humanity and the fact that we're humans. We're all humans. We do the best that we can. We like to think. But this world is pretty hot right now. The temperature's pretty hot, and everybody's quick to be offended and quick to be mad and yelling at each other and whatever. Do you have faith that we're moving in that direction to just remember that we're all human and we're better together than we are apart?
that's the interesting question. My first thought is that I have faith that it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
I mean, we're meant to be in our communities, and not everyone's going to have the same communities. And I think it all kind of ends up working itself out. I think this is going to sound super, paid for by CrossFit, but I think the best place to kind of get rid of that stuff is CrossFit gyms.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have members who are super on one side, and I have members who are super on the other. But when they come and work out together, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It just, like, they're good friends. They go out and have beers together. They can have interactions. And I think the problem that we have is not differing beliefs, but the inability or the aspect that we are so connected that we are disconnected from other people. And when you actually get in front of each other and you connect with them, you can see, like, hey, I may disagree, but that doesn't mean you're a bad person.
Oh, crazy take right there. That is just
Hot
such
take.
a great hot freaking take.
I'm getting canceled.
Yeah.
For that
Amazing.
one.
That's
But
it. He's done.
I think there's a part of human mentality where when you suffer with someone, other things kind of fall by the wayside. I think that's why CrossFit's so beautiful and works so well on so many different levels when we're talking about physicality or mentality, is that, like, once you see someone work hard and suffer, you have to, like, you automatically have respect for them. You have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Cause you just watch them go through the same thing you went through. And there's this aspect, I joke that, like, CrossFit is the best expression of trauma bonding I've ever seen.
For real. For real.
Yeah,
And we choose to go
CrossFit,
back the next
the
day and the next
military,
day and the next
like,
day.
yeah, all of it. And you said on a podcast one time that you felt the first CrossFit workout you ever did was like the worst, and you felt like absolute garbage and like a fat whatever afterwards. But
That was a
like,
fat turd, yeah.
You were like, oh, fat turd. Yeah, that was absolutely the line you used. But then you were like, I fell in love with it, and I kept coming back the next day and the next day. And it's amazing that you can go into something with a group of people, feel like absolute trash after the workout, and know you suck at it, and you want to come back and do it again and again and again. until you don't suck so much. Pause.
Well, I think the big thing for me on that first workout, which I was a fat turd, and they picked that workout specifically to pick on me. I'm sure of it.
9
But
years
the
in, I
crazy thing
feel
is,
like a fat turd today.
Vindicate.
Fair vindicate.
and I think the most powerful part of that whole experience was not the workout. It wasn't even that I sucked at it and wanted to get better. It was that it took them 5 minutes and it took me probably 40, and none of them left. Not a single one of them was like, "Hey, I got to get out of here." Every single one of them that worked out with me stayed the entire time while my fat ass was struggling through 10-pound dumbbell push press because I smoked my shoulders so badly. And I think that was it more than anything else. It was like, I don't have this encouragement when I'm just back squatting and deadlifting. Like there's you finish your workout, you get out, and I think that was a huge part of it. It's unique to the CrossFit world. I've been around barbell since I was like 12, ish years old, and that is an aspect that is, in my experience, incredibly unique to CrossFit.
Yeah, because you walk into a CrossFit gym and the first thing they ask you is, what's your name? They don't say, what's your name and what are your political beliefs, or what religion do you follow, or, what are you against, or what are you pro, and whatever. And, I just recently walked back into a CrossFit gym because I had stepped away for a little bit, and I just recently got back into CrossFit. And so I'm around a new group of people. And I walked in and I said hello and I did the first workout. And after the first workout, everybody just fist bumped. And then I came back the next day and the same thing. We're just in it. Now we all have there's like 5 of us that now go all at the same time. And then we'll have other people coming in. But it's now you're cracking jokes. Now you're poking fun. We have one guy that very much was like what you were talking about on your first one. He is really fucking fit. The workout that I did yesterday was supposed to take 7 minutes. Time cap was 12 minutes. I worked for 12 minutes. He was done in 5.5. And then he's annoying and he walks around and he's like, let's go. And I'm like, go away and leave me alone. You know what I mean? Like, but you build that camaraderie, but in so many other places, you can't just do that anymore. You can't just say, hi, I'm Colleen. It's nice to meet you. And let the conversation go where it's going to go, or let the fitness go where it's going to go. Now you need to know what you're against, what you're pro, where you are,
and
what side of the
nobody
aisle
cares,
you go.
dude.
And
Nobody wants to know.
Yep.
We're good.
Yep.
Like, it's fine. I just want to work out.
CrossFit is do the work first. Everything else comes after. As long as I can see you doing the work, the only people that get shamed or made fun of are people who shave reps. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah.
That's fair.
So from your story, and this last thing, because I know we're running a little bit late, I don't want to keep you too long.
And my kid's about to come take over this podcast.
Yeah.
So.
You experienced, I mean, he almost did. He almost did. And he definitely will probably say hello before we end the podcast. You experienced the biggest injury that you possibly could have in the CrossFit space, and you still go back. And so now you hear a lot of people that have been in CrossFit for a long time turning like a complete 360 and saying that CrossFit is dangerous. It's dangerous. Don't do it. It's too dangerous. What is your response to people that say that CrossFit's too dangerous?
The nice answer is I would like to see what they were doing and what they called CrossFit.
You don't have to give the nice answer. We want the
we want
the real one.
The mean answer is I don't think they understand the methodology.
Yeah.
I don't think they truly understand what it is and what it isn't. And a lot of those people who do it for a long time or do it for any period of time and go, oh, this is dangerous. I generally see those people as individuals who just went 100% all the time, didn't take note of anything, and they were good at scaling for physiological tolerances, but they didn't understand scaling for psychological tolerances as well. Because I mean, I've been doing CrossFit for close to 20 years now, and it's the only thing that's kept me healthy. And if you want to tell me that I'd be healthier without 20 years of CrossFit, I'm going to call you a liar. My dad didn't work out a day in his life until he was like 57 or 58, and he's probably healthier now at almost 70 than he was going into his 60s. You can't tell me that it's dangerous. I've seen too many stories of the exact opposite. So generally, what I see is that people who are like, I've done this for a while, it is in fact dangerous, have little to no understanding of the methodology, or we're applying it wrong. and didn't truly get. They're usually the people who are like, all right, I'm going to do workout A and then workout B and then workout C and then have accessory work and I have some lifting to do and I'm going to do that all in one day and I'm going to do that 6 days a week. And it's like, it's not the methodology.
Yeah.
It's not what you're supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that also drew me to CrossFit when I first started is that it's the maximum return for the minimum input.
Yeah.
I can come in and do a little warm up, do a specific warm up, hit a 10-minute workout, do a little cool down, and be out the door.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to benefit me more than spending 2.5 hours in the gym.
Yes.
Yo, it's better than P90X. I used to do that shit in the early 2000s.
Or boot camps. or the fitness classes, like
Yeah.
all those fitness classes and
Yeah.
The thing when I was in college was the Les Mills. I don't even know if it's still
Yes.
around, but
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Les
yeah.
Mills. Yeah.
Yep.
They had
Yep.
the boxing
and
one to dancing or whatever the hell that
Yeah,
was.
and
Yeah.
knock it, like whatever makes you keep moving and keep doing fitness. Hell, if you want to do Zumba, go for it. Like
Yeah.
more power to you. But if you want the most effective way to increase health, as we define it, which is fitness over their lifetime, is CrossFit. There's no question. There's not even anything close to it.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to find someone who understands the methodology and applies it properly.
And understanding that the games training is not the same as the everyday trainer or the everyday CrossFitter.
Yeah, but there's also a bit to that. Like when do you increase when do you increase volume? When your intensity can match it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like you can't come in as someone who's brand new and hit 6 workouts and expect intensity to stay high, which is the number one predictor of results. So if you're doing 6 workouts at sub intensity, you're not doing the methodology. It'd be better for you to hit the one workout with intensity and then rest and recover for the next day, or go out and ride your bike, or regularly learn and play new sports, which is part of the prescription.
Mm-hmm.
And so like those games athletes weren't always games athletes. They've done something to allow for their intensity and train for long enough that their intensity can match their volume. Not what most people do, which is where their volume outstrips their intensity.
Fair.
That is why when I give all of my intensity at one class, I take the next day off because
You lie. You don't. Your volume outweighs your intensity.
No.
I told you to sit your ass down today.
Might have been. Well, I also was sharing a nice cold with my son this
That's
morning. So what I'm saying is I'm growing. I might not have done that a while ago where I would go into CrossFit and beat myself up consistently and got injured and had to step away, and I'm now building it up. But now I can say that I really pushed myself yesterday at CrossFit in the workout, and I took today off. So
well, and I think the part that always gets skipped in the prescription is it's directly says scale for physiological and psychological tolerances. It's not just can I do this. There should be an aspect of should I do this.
mm-hmm.
Like I'll have athletes come to the gym and I know they can do, the workout at 315-pound deadlifts, but their dog just died. They just lost their job. Their wife's leaving them, like typical country song type of day.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, bro, why don't we drop that weight down and just move today so you feel better when you leave?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's a huge aspect that a lot of people don't understand about that phrase, like scale for psychological tolerances, is that you have to know your athletes as a coach. You have to know your athletes well enough to know, like, hey, when they walk in, I see you. I can tell you're having a horrible day. Maybe we scale back today. Maybe full on what you're physiologically capable of isn't what we do today, because we need to scale for that psychological tolerance as well.
Yeah. I have athletes that come in sometimes and they're like, I just don't have it. And so I'm like, okay, well, we'll still get through class today. And they walk out and they're like, well, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. And I'm like, you came here, you came to the gym, you did something.
Oh, I don't lose my temper often, but when someone says, yeah, but I scaled, it makes me want to give them a hug with a chair in the face.
Yes. Yes.
It's like, who are you coming here simply to prove that you're better than everyone? Or are you coming here to improve yourself as a human being? Because if you are coming here to improve yourself as a human being, scaling is the coolest thing you can do, and it'll improve your fitness faster than you ever could by not scaling.
Yeah.
I wish the one thing I messed up on when I first started CrossFit, and I wish I could go back and change, is that, I was big, strong, meathead, never scale. And I did that for like the first year and a half, 2 years of my CrossFit life. I
Mm.
would have been so much fitter, so much faster if my dumbass had just scaled some workouts when I started.
Yeah.
Mhm. I
You-
wouldn't have gotten hurt.
You just
If
want to get to
I
RX as
just-
bad as you can. Like
Yep.
that's just
Well, and that's the ego of youth. I wanted to prove that I was stronger, faster, and fitter than everyone. I didn't want to improve myself. But as I'm old and smarter now, I realize that that's dumb.
yeah.
Mhm.
Listen, youth is wasted on the young. I want my shit back because if I could go back and do it, yo, I'd be in
Listen,
a
I don't.
WNBA, which means nothing, but I would be there.
You made him laugh twice, babe. You good today.
That's good. That's good. I mean, listen, I don't want to go back to being young. I like where I'm at. If I decide I don't want to go out and hang out with friends, everyone understands it's because I'm old. If I do want to go hang out with friends, they understand because I'm old enough I can afford it.
Yes.
I'm perfectly happy being old.
Yes.
Oh crap! All right, guys. Oh, CK Kevin, you always come in at the end, bro. I got a kid to go chasing around now.
Yep.
It's 7:30, and
Yep.
unfortunately, he's been trapped inside all day because he was sick. So now I have to go try to get him to sleep, which
Yep.
is not going to
Which is
work.
going to be fun.
But thank you. This is like a dream
Oh,
conversation.
thank you
that
guys. This is awesome.
I had
very honored to
Yeah,
have met you
seriously.
and talked to you. You have been, since she had this crazy idea of this podcast, you have been one of the ones that I was hoping one day we'd have the opportunity to talk to you. So I hope this is one of many that we can sit down and chat and talk all things.
You guys let me know when the next time is, or just let Lisa know, and Lisa will tell me. But yeah, this was awesome. I'll come back anytime.
Awesome. Awesome.
Man, hang on for us for 1 second. Hey guys, if you can, please go hit the QR code for Vindicate, help him out. We're all going to crash in a week and a half or so.
Yep.
And then check out Primal Mobility. Use code GTP27. Get that $27 rate and
Yep.
make your body feel better,
Yep.
stretch out, do all the good stuff.
Get strong. Get strong.
We'll
So-
see you for Thirst Trap Thursday. We got a fun guest on Thirst Trap Thursday, so we'll get in there on that.
I'll
Don't
see you guys there.
laugh, Kevin. Okay, thanks guys.
Bye, guys.
Deuces.
See you next time.